Hi friends, I'm Brandon and I want to welcome you to this video. I hope you're doing well. So this is a new series I'm titling Things I Meant to Do Earlier, or some variation of that, where for the final days of 2025, I'm working to accomplish some tasks that I've meant to do all year long. Some of these may be small things, some may be bigger. Maybe it's just a regular old vlog, or maybe it's a compilation of old videos. Whatever the case may be, I just want to have fun with this and truly document what's left of 2025. So one of my big goals for this year was to read 12 books. In full transparency, that was actually a 2024 goal that I pushed onto this year because of the small issue of that I read 0 books. Don't get me wrong, I read a ton of academic articles and I've been reading all year long last year. It's just, I never got around to actually finishing a book. I would read, constantly read a whole bunch of academic articles, read scholarly text. I wrote a whole thesis, but I never got around to finishing any of the things I started. And that's a part of the reason that we have the series here. Well, going back to this year. So I did start off the beginning of the year by reading 3 books. I'd love to do a book talk about this a little bit later, but for now, let me just show you the 3 books I've read. So first of all, I read Glimpses by Matt Williams. If you're wondering how I got into this book, this actually released last year while writing my master's thesis. So Matt Williams is a television sitcom writer, producer, and creator. And so 2 of his notable works are Roseanne and Home Improvement. So in my master's thesis, I evaluate television sitcoms, and one of them was the revival series, The Conners. It's a successor series to Roseanne, in which Matt Williams created. I bought the book hoping to try to get some little insight, so to speak, that I can potentially add into my thesis. But this turned out to be an incredibly good read. Made me laugh at times, made me sad at times. It's a really good book. I would love to do a proper discussion about this a little bit later, like I said before, but this is the first book I finished this year. I largely read it last year, but finished it this year. So, good book. After that, when I decided to dedicate myself to this 12 books before the year's over goal, I was just trying to record some B-roll, like in, I was going to say the little library, but the, numerous bookshelves we have in our house. And I ran into the book Nate Expectations. This is the final book in the Better Nate Than Never series. And I definitely bought this not that long after it came out. And so I just happened to, open it up and I saw that there was like a page mark in the book. And that it bothered me because I couldn't remember if I actually finished reading it or not. I love the series. I started reading the series, I believe, in 7th grade. I did a whole presentation about the first book, Better Nate Than Never. But truly, it puzzled me that I couldn't remember if I finished a book. So I went ahead and started the book from where the page intent was. And it started sounding familiar, then at some point it didn't. But then the last few pages did seem familiar, so your guess is as good as mine as to whether I'd previously finished a book. But I'm so glad that I did. I actually want to reread this book, start to finish, the whole series even, because it's just a really good book and I wish I had remembered how it started off. But truly, amazing book, made me laugh out loud as well in various parts. Where are my bookmarks currently? Page 160 and 161. I don't know why these pages are bookmarked, but that's what we have there. Then, for the third book I've read, the last book I've completed thus far, is Me, Myself, and Bob. This is from the creator of VeggieTales, Phil Fisher. And the interesting story about how I got into this book is that at some point in the beginning of the year, when I was getting back into to reading, I had a lot of free time since I wasn't teaching any classes. I started getting really back into my research. I started feeling like a spark, and I wanted to know everything there was to know about television. I think at some point I was like, there's one class I would love to teach, and that is Understanding Media, or at my university, Com 260. It's a class that was my favorite as an undergraduate. All that to say, though, is I wanted to learn more about media, so I was thinking about streaming services, networks. And so I got a whole bunch of books that I'll show you in a little bit. A whole bunch of books about TV show executives and, television network executives. I got some books related to PBS, public broadcasting. And at some point I end up in a research rabbit hole thinking about direct-to-video TV shows, and that there's not really a lot of those. There certainly are movies. There's a lot of them I can think about, such as like some of the Scooby-Doo movies and other movies like cartoons that tend to go straight into like a VHS or a DVD or now Blu-ray production. But I don't know, I was really getting fascinated into it, but I was curious about how the procedures went. And one of the most successful series, TV shows that had done that, is VeggieTales. So I bought the book. I was just hoping to get a little bit of insight or two into that. It didn't really discuss on that. It did a little bit. But this book was such an amazing and refreshing read. I absolutely loved it. Again, I'll have to do a discussion later. But I feel like these three fit into an amazing theme with each other. So books 1, 2, 3 finished within, let's say, the first 3.5 months of the year. So all three amazing good books. In terms of after that, well, I'm sorry to say I've not finished any books since then. I have been reading, and I'll show you the book I'm reading. So I'm currently reading Sitcom, which is a history in 24 episodes from I Love Lucy to Community per the title. And you can see that the Friends characters up here. So what this book does is that it takes a specific episode from numerous TV shows throughout television history and evaluates it and shows how it relates to the history of the television situational comedy. It's quite fascinating. I believe this is a Christmas gift from my mom, and so I've been reading. I'm currently on, where's my placeholder? I guess with the little election sticker that I have right here. So I'm on page 199, and so this is the Roseanne chapter. So like I said, it's a very fascinating book. I'm very excited to finish reading this before this year's over. It has, let's see, what's the last regular page? With acknowledgements. 383 pages, but I know I can finish this before the year's over. I'm not worried about that. Now that I think about it, I could probably finish this chapter before the night's over. So, you may be wondering, okay, that's 4 books. 4 is not 12. And with less than 50 days of the year, I'm recording this on the 14th of November to release on the 15th of November 2025. How the heck am I going to finish 12 books before this year's over? That's 9, I can't count. There's 9 books left. Well, I'm pretty sure I can do anything I set my mind to. But I want to give myself some options. So let me show you some of the books I've acquired this year. So like the ones that have been sitting on my desk. Alright, so giant stack of books. So I'm going to go through them real quick. I'm pretty sure this is a Christmas gift. So it goes over 5 decades of black television. I'm quite excited to actually read through this and have the proper time to evaluate it. It looks really nice from the glimpses I've gone through. But this is not a book I don't want to spoil the book. As strange as that might sound. Spoiling television history. But no, so admittedly I haven't touched much of the book yet, but when I read it, believe me when I say, I'm going to read it. This video is going to be a lot longer than I thought it was. Okay, so that's one book. And again, I'm not saying I'm bringing all of these before the year's over, but some options. This one I think is, yes, Being the Odds, from Leonard H. Goldenson. So again, I was on a hunt for old books. This was one of them. But this is from the creator, this is from one of the original pioneers of the American Broadcasting Company. Very excited to read this. I read a few pages before picking up the Sitcom book. So I've probably read maybe the first 5, 10, 15 pages on and off at the beginning of this year. As it happened, by William S. Paley. So last year I visited the Paley Center in New York City, only for a few minutes. Didn't make it past the front, but I really wanted to learn more about him. So, and again, another rare book. I don't remember if I bought this or my mom bought this for me, but regardless, I think I bought this one. I'm excited to get into it. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm missing one up here, but viewers like you. So one of my undergraduate advisor had highly recommended for me to read this book, and it's about public television. I'm quite excited to get into it, especially with all that happened with public television within 2025. So quite excited to get into it. It was actually recommended to me a few years ago, but I bought it this year because it just come to me that I never went to look for it. So excited to get into that when I can. I know this one my mom bought me. So this is from Brandon Tartikoff, The Last Great Ride. He's one of the presidents of NBC. As you can see, it's still in the plastic. I want to make sure I give this one my due diligence. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to have this in my collection. Tinker in Television. This is from Grant Tinker, who was with MTM Enterprises for Mary Tyler Moore. Again, you can see a theme with television. And to the best of my knowledge, he worked with David Sarnoff, who was a big pioneer in NBC, which goes into my book about David Sarnoff. So, yes. I actually had a big board on my whiteboard. Maybe I can find a picture or video of it. That had like a list of books I had wanted. So yeah, this is a pretty thick book, but you can see the like age of it. What year is this? Many of these books aren't even in circulation anymore. 1968. Like you can see the age and everything of it. And I know I'm missing a book, so I thought this stack looked too small. Gosh, whose book am I missing? It'd be with public television, so that was... Okay, I'm trying to think. Public television, it was considered the vast wasteland. And that was a speech given by the FCC chairman at the time. And I have his book. Question is, where is that book? How in the world could I forget about Chairman Newt Minow? So, yes. I have his book as well. He has a few different books. This one's How to Abandon a Wasteland. It refers to children's television and how it relates to the First Amendment. Even going as far as relating it to public television and the public debate. I haven't had a chance to get into it yet, because again, lots of books on my plate. And a part of me says, I don't remember if I bought this or my mom bought this for me, but there's the first edition from 1995. Again, I really got into older books about television, if this isn't any indication. Now I'm getting a call from a potential spam who previously called on September 12th. Greetings.
Hello?
Anyway, going back into books. Like I said, my goal is to read 12 books before the year is over. And as you can see, I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, I suppose if I'd read all of these, I would have been done. But I want to give myself some different options. And you can kind of see my fascination with getting back into reading. So many books, so little to choose from. So, over here, I have my favorite ever series, The Giver Quartet by Lois Lowry. I really do love her books. My favorite is book 4, titled Son. I've read these more than once. I read the first book, The Giver, in 7th grade. They never finished it, unfortunately, but I finished reading it. I read the rest as ebooks, and then I got the collection and reread them again, and some again. But I actually want to build up to getting back to Son, so I want to start off with the first one, The Giver, and so it even has a sticker from when I reread it in 10th grade. But I really want to get back into it. I know my mom is in the midst of reading companion book Gathering Blue, but I mean, I truly want to get back into reading. But again, there's lots of other things that I want to read. For instance, I have a friend with 2 poetry books. My friend San Sharma, who's been on my podcast. He's written 2 poetry books. I want to reread both of these. I started reading this one for, I believe, the second time at the very beginning of this year, but I want to truly reread the both of them. And when I finally met him in person again, he did sign the books. So, again, I'm excited to read into them. Speaking of friends with poetry books, my friend Carol has written 2 poetry books. And I'm very excited to read both of these. What's a little bit different, though, about these ones are that they are written in Polish. In case you don't know, I don't know anything about Polish. But my friend has an amazing blog where he goes through and analyzes some of his poetry. So I want to go beyond just a Google Translate. I want to try to do my best to analyze as much as possible and to truly read the words that he's saying, even if I don't understand the language itself. So I'm quite excited. And I should be clear that when I say books, I'm referring to anything that can be classified as a book. Doesn't matter if it's a textbook, a workbook, even reading the entirety of a cookbook. But whatever the case may be, a book is a book. 10 pages, 1,000 pages. All that to say, though, is there's this one textbook I've been reading on and off from the Lifespan Communication Collection. This is the Handbook of Lifespan Communication. So I have my master's degree in Lifespan and Digital Communication. You can see all of my notes. This is one of our textbooks. So I've really enjoyed reading this. You can see some of the notes from class. But I've honestly liked reading this for fun, and even before joining the master's program, I will admit, I was tempted to buy this book just for fun reading. So I said, so there's truly different chapters for each page. Again, this was not made to be a giant book discussion, but I suppose it is. So much to just talk about. And then in terms of 2 other books, I did meet this author when I was at a conference, Heather Evans, and so we have a gratitude journal and in a book of 12 strategies. One of these is signed, I believe. I don't know which one. So, yeah, so I'll probably be reading these together whenever I have a chance to go through these. And I'm quite excited to get through them. Some other options. Relationship-rich education. I participated in a panel for this in college. I didn't actually finish reading it before I went on the panel, but I really enjoyed reading into it, and now as an instructor myself, I want to dive back into it. And finally, Wonder and Augie and Me, 3 Wonder Stories. So, this book I read originally in 5th grade. I think we came close to finishing it. I don't remember us actually finishing it, but it's a really good book. I read it first as a real book, and then a part of me says I have the ebook. I got the Julian chapter as the ebook. I read through that. I don't remember if I finished reading Pluto and Shringaling, but I do have the physical one that has the 3 of those extra chapters in here. And so I think that this would be a really fun reread, because again, when I read the first one, that was 5th grade, so that would be 2013 when I finished. So 12 years later, I'd like to see what my thoughts are now. If you can't tell, I love learning, I love reading, and there's so many options. But, gosh, now looking at all my books over here, I think I can make it to my goal. But I want to do my best to keep you updated as to how I progress with reading week to week, and starting tomorrow, the final 47 days of 2025. If you have any thoughts or predictions as to which books I'm going to read before this year's over, let me know. My overall goal last year, and I'll continue it to this year, is if I can manage to read 12 books, I'm able to get myself a new Amazon Fire tablet. I don't remember exactly what the name or model is, but I know it when I see it. I'd love to be able to continue my reading adventure, and who knows, maybe this will be a new thing we do. But thank you so much for tuning into this video. Longer than expected, but I truly enjoyed reading. But I truly enjoyed speaking with you. And who knows, maybe I'll also add Read My Thesis into this mix as well a little bit later on. You never really know. Oh, and there's also this book right here that is on a completely different shelf that has been on my to-read list. Streamlining the curriculum. I'm personally quite intrigued. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. And let me know, what have you been reading lately? I would love to hear all about any reading adventures you have, and maybe we can support each other finishing out 2025. Alright, friends. We started off this journey strong. Let's finish it out confident. I'll see you in the next time. Bye for now.